Hello, Gary Klaban here. New format for you today. This is the video version of The Observer, as well as a smaller write-up. We'll try to keep the video to 5 minutes or less going forward. Hope you like this. First subject here is Keystone Habits. You know, we've got good habits, we've got bad habits. Habits you see in me, you'd like me to change, well, maybe someday. But first, let's go to a story. Claude Hopkins had a problem. See, Claude was a famous ad man back in the beginning of the 1900s. Buddy came to him and said, "Hey, I'd like you to sell something for me, toothpaste." Claude wasn't excited. Only 8% of the population was using toothpaste. Rotten teeth were a common norm. So this ad man knew he needed a trigger. So what did he do? He delved into some dental books and found this thing called mucin-plex, you know, the film on your teeth. He thought, you know, if I could get that film erased and then get a beautiful smile, people might do this. Sure enough, he was right. 5 years later, huge success. Pepcid Smile. So what happened here? Well, Charles Duhigg in the book, The Power of Habit, says that he found a craving, and the craving was a beautiful smile. And it's a three-step process that it goes through. First one is the cue, film on my teeth. Next, the routine, brushing my teeth. Finally, the result, beautiful Pepcid Smile. You know, Clark Gable and Shirley Temple would remark about their Pepcid Smiles. Now fast forward, 1987, a fellow named Paul O'Neill comes on the scene as the new CEO of Alcoa. Now Paul came up with a keystone habit, as Duhigg will talk about, and it was worker safety. Paul looked at Alcoa in a totally different way than anybody else. He figured that if we just focus on worker safety, everything else would work out. And sure enough, he had some background with international paper and the government, and he had learned how routines for organizations were like habits, good habits for people. So first thing he did, he said he required his unit presidents to report any safety violations within 24 hours directly to him. You know what happened? All their communication systems got faster and quicker, and now the floor could communicate faster with managers, and lots of other good things happened. Second, having problems with productivity on the line. The unions all of a sudden started to embrace productivity because they saw the safety issues being handled. No longer were there molten metal splashing on workers. They came up with a new pouring system. They had many other things that took place. Bottom line is this: 10 years later, Alcoa stock's gone up by 100%, doubled in price. Darlings of Wall Street. So, you know, what's going on here with these keystone habits, and how does it affect you and your money? Well, first of all, what we have found is that there's one big keystone habit, only common denominator that we have found with our clients, and that is this: they save first and they spend second. And that's it, really. If you can do that, a lot of the other stuff takes place. So, for example, you get a cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts instead of a Frappuccino over at Starbucks. You take a trip to northern Wisconsin for the summertime rather than flying to Europe. Lots of decisions are made along the way, but what happens ultimately is the wealth and the money is built up. Now all of a sudden you enter a different area. Ed Coyle, our mentor, used to say there's 3 stages in life. There's the learning, there's the earning, and then there's the yearning. Now I'm talking about the yearning stage. What goes on here at the yearning stage? Well, in the yearning stage, it's kind of an unfocus off the money and focus on something else. What's that something else? Well, it's different if you talk to different people. Some folks spend a lot of time with their grandchildren, passing along their beliefs and their wisdom to them. Others are trying to pass their business leadership torch on to the next generation. Still others are building some kind of a legacy, something that's very important and to pass along to the next generation, on to other people. But whatever it is for you what it is that makes sense, to stay away from those very negative things that happen after people retire. Now I have a good book for you to consider. There's both a male version and a female version. It's written by 2 gentlemen. One is Chris Crowley, retiree, and another one's his doctor, Dr. Lodge. Now, it's alternating chapters, and Chris talks about the real world, and then Dr. Lodge kind of explains scientifically what happens when you go through this change into the yearning phase. A really good read, and I find it's kind of enjoyable along the way. It's something that really I believe will kind of augment these keystone habits. So I'd like to leave you with something that Mark Twain wrote. Nothing needs more reforming than other people's habits. So until next time, enjoy.